This is a PDP-10 here. This is a replica of a Ka-10 console. And right now I'm running an operating system called ITS. That's being displayed on this screen here. And then over here I have some access to remote systems. We're going to talk about Microsoft Basic. So just to have something running in the background, I'm going to start up a program called TECH-Splore. Just have that right there we go, and I'll get TECH-Splore up and going. This is the blocks world that was developed at MIT AI Labs. And here I'm just going to let it run in the background. It's basically a dialogue between the operator asking TECH-Splore to pick up a big red block. TECH-Splore says picks it up with the robotic arm. This is a dialogue demo. It's just interactive between a human and a computer. And it's smoke and mirrors. It's pretending what AI could be back in the 1960s. And then on this side over here, I have this assortment of remote systems that are all running in Seattle. And I'm going to connect to one PDP-10 here and talk about the Mimms Altair that was developed on the PDP-10 and started Microsoft. So right now, connected to a PDP-10, a simulation that's running. This is running TOPS 10. And I'm going to log in like I would. You can see what all the jobs are running. And I'm looking at my directory here. And now I'm going to fire up the simulator. So basically how this simulator started was there's a whole history of interest in microprocessors that Bill Gates and Paul Allen had when they were high school students and then later after they graduated. They knew that somebody was going to build a computer around a microprocessor at some point, and they wanted to be able to be ready to write software for it. So when Intel introduced the 4004 back in '71, they looked at that processor and they figured out there wasn't enough of a CPU there to build a computer around it. Well, when the 8008 came out, just a short time later, they figured out, okay, there's something there. They wrote a simulator that ran on the PDP-10, and then they actually created a computer with Paul Gilbert called Traffic-Data, which would collate data from traffic tapes. You know those hoses you see across the road when your car drives over it? It increments a counter on a paper tape. And so they created traffic data to process that data. And it turns out that the city and the county was already doing that stuff for free, and there was no commercial value to it. So when the 8080 got introduced in '74, they looked at that, they figured out this is the microprocessor we've been waiting for, and someone's going to make a computer around it. They started working on the simulator on the PDP-10, extending it even more than they did with the 8008. And then, of course, in January of 1975, you have the Mimms Altair 8800 on the cover of Popular Electronics. They knew that they were already behind, so they rushed to create a BASIC for it. And so this is what it looks like. There's a simulator that runs on the PDP-10, and then when it starts up, it's running 8080 simulation right now. It immediately loads a blob into memory, which Bill Gates has publicly released earlier this month. This is the basic programming basic program that gets loaded into memory. And if you've ever run an Altair, this is the dialogue that's familiar to you. It asks you, what's the memory size of your Altair? I'm going to say 8K. String spacing, this is for variable length. What do you want? I'm going to take the default. And then Monty Davidoff's math package for all the trigonometric functions. I'm going to say yes. Load that in. And there you go. So now it tells me how much memory I have free in my virtual Altair. And it's Altair Basic version 1.1 because at Microsoft, quality is job 1.1. Anyways, this is 8K Basic, and famously the demo at MITS was to type print 2 + 2. It responds 4, and from here I can write about just any basic program that I have. And then on the back here I have a few examples for folks to type in on their own to interact. They've not learned BASIC, and they're welcome to type these in. And then, of course, if I just hit Control-C, I've closed the emulator. I'm back on my PDP-10. We're back at the command processor on this mainframe computer, giant mainframe computer, simulating the tiny little 8080 processor and the Mimms Altair.